You'll be seeing a lot of changes around here. Papa's got a brand new bag. Ow!
Okay, so I wanted to do a final tour of the castle and go back to my roots of doing acknowledgements of um, those people that have inspired me or given me ideas or anything when it comes to building my settlements. I feel like that it's good to acknowledge those people, and I wanted to do that while I'm doing another full tour of the castle. So let's go ahead and we'll start outside and we'll talk about those people. So um, first thing I want to point out is these security points that are outside of the castle. Now, anytime I may have had any kind of inspiration or anything like that, it's not necessarily a direct inspiration. And in this case, that would be probably true. Somebody that just I was thinking about as I was building this or what have you. And in this case, it was Draco Invictus. He he years ago actually he had built quite a substantial tower here, and it's something that I always kind of thought about. And more recently, he's done some interesting things. Particularly at the uh, Finch Farm and that kind of stuff. And like the using these boxes. One's a garbage can or garbage bin, and then this is actually a I don't know what do we call those, the trap or whatever, to capture whatever dog or whatever it is. I don't know, but I use that too, and I just kind of glitched it up um, underneath that pier there, and so it's just kind of adding some junkiness and some kind of randomness to it, and that's something that he kind of I've seen him do from time to time, but it's more the security points themselves that you know just kind of some of the stuff that he's done over the past kind of just always makes me want to do stuff like this and what have you, make things interesting for security points. Um, I don't even know where I came up with this idea, but basically I used the fishing um, deals, and I just kind of stuck those up underneath there and made it look like they were holding up this stand, just to have something a little bit different. This little security point here, nothing overly special, just something I kind of slapped together. Um, I don't know if I had any one specific inspiration or if it's just something that I thought of on my own. I mean, almost all of us have used something very similar to this, so I wouldn't be able to really attribute to anybody. Now we get into the kind of this warehouse. This is kind of like an entrance and exit type of thing, for an influx of stuff coming in and for us to inspect, and then also, potentially stuff going back out. And that's what the security point's supposed to kind of be, is that person's supposed to be, kind of managing what's coming in and out. And for this, would probably be Morpheus GI. Not so much, inspired me to build something like this, but he rather liked some of the stuff that I was doing regarding the little depots and the little warehouse points like that. So um, he rather likes it, and he tries to do that from time to time as well. And because he likes it, it kind of inspires me to keep coming up with new ideas and that kind of stuff. And he does a great job of decorating and that kind of stuff. And there's so many people that do an awesome job of decorating, and so him and Denise, Phoenix, and just a bunch of other people always kind of inspire me to try to decorate a little bit better every time. So yeah, that's where that comes from. Now this radiation arch, um, the kind of the initial inspiration came from Nacho Business. He had done a radiation arch, and his was quite a bit different. It was, but I, because I'm in survival, I wanted something that I could just kind of pass through. I can even run through this and turn it on, turn it off, and so it comes on just long enough as I pass through to cleanse my radiation. And we all know that Nacho likes his. Yes, it is, Sean.
Wow,
We
it's
all know
hot
that
today.
Nacho likes his gates and stuff, and this is a really simple one. It's just a matter of kind of treating it almost like a doorway, and just using the gate, just like a doorway, type of thing. And you just use those laser switches, and those come from the switches were definitely an idea from Nacho, and those come from the conveyor belts and what have you. So I guess we'll come up this way. So over here we have the clothing shop, and you know, my friend Denise, what a lovely soul she is. She's she loves decorating, and so I'd never do her any justice trying to say that, um, anything that I'm doing is even remotely close to hers. But the fact that she does what she does and how awesome she is at it always inspires me to at least put forth the effort. So um, there's this decorating, and then I
You
wanted
should
to
know.
have
People have been complaining about your situation.
a changing room, and so it seems like something that she would put in would be some sort of a changing room. In fact, the idea kind of came to me when, in my previous castle build, she had suggested this using one of the outhouses as a changing room, and an outhouse wouldn't work in this spot, but I was able to kind of scrap that together and make something that
One day,
resembled
we'll put
a
this back together. Better than
changing
ever.
room. Thank you,
Whatever you
Preston.
need, you've got it.
So we just have another look at the security point down here. Now, one of the things about the castle that always annoys me is these security points. So hard to get security people to actually go to the security points and stay there. So yeah, this little area is just kind of something I kind of came up with, and the idea pretty much was all my own, but it was kind of somewhat driven by my my previous castle build, where I built this open air gym, and basically in the same spot, just much different. And some suggestions that Sushi Cat Gamer had made at the time kind of drove me to continue with this little idea, and it works out really well, I think.
I'll get these
So
kids
we
whipped
kind
into
of come
shape.
up
Don't
here.
worry.
Um, these stairs over here, and I couldn't even tell you how or why or whatever, but these stairs was kind of inspired by JPEG O'Death. And it's nothing super special, but I think it's just something that I don't even know. It was something that he had done that kind of made me think of doing this, and so I just kind of went with that, and it's definitely something that whatever he had did gave me this idea, and so I wanted to make sure that I acknowledge him as well. So we kind of come up here, and nothing overly special up here. We just have this gym up here, and then down here, just a simple, bunkhouse. Nothing overly special here. Um, I actually had intended on, decorating this and putting, maybe a grill out here and, a place to sit for people and whatnot. But I just never got around to it, and I was very much focused as I was doing this, very much focused on having it be combat ready, and so I didn't really want to put a lot of stuff in that was like R&R type stuff. I could probably spruce it up and do that now, and it fit in really well. But I have people here that aren't dressed. I've dressed them all. These uh, dishes here, these are communication dishes from um, the transport deal that sends you to the institute. And this idea came from Sardeliac. He did this quite some time ago in one of his series, and I just thought it was great. And this is the first playthrough that I've ever done where I actually use these. And the trick is, and this is what I found out from him, is you have to actually build them before you go to the institute. So while you're building your transport, you build an extra of these, and you can store them or leave them up or whatever. But you have to build these before you use the transport, because once you build the transport, you can't build them anymore. So yeah, it was him that kind of gave me that idea. Well, not kind of, actually gave me the idea, and it's something I've been wanting to do, and I have forgotten on any of my other playthroughs to do. So I made sure that at several locations, pretty much any of my hub locations and also the castle, I have these in place. So in case I ever go and build at any of those other locations, I can continue kind of the RP of using these to communicate. So um, yeah. Uh, there's my chicken coop over there. Can't really give anybody the credit for that. It was just an idea that I came up with myself. And let's go ahead and head down here. And these um, putting in all these rooms like this. This was something that I basically got the idea from General Jose, and he did this on his castle build quite some time ago. And if you haven't seen his stuff, he's actually a really great builder. And I don't know if he's doing, I haven't seen much from him for quite some time, but he's just a really great builder and stuff. And his castle series was something that inspired me to do my first castle build. And then there's hints of that throughout here. So come into the clinic, and there's so many things that um, Phoenix has inspired me for with this. You know, the sleeping bag on the table to use as a kind of like an operating table or what have you. Just the general decoration of everything. Just trying to put stuff out and whatnot. I mean, there's so many other people that have inspired me and given me ideas on decorating and stuff. And I'm a horrible decorator. I freely admit it. But I just don't have the patience for it. Really, is my big problem. But they definitely inspired me and kind of keep me going and encouraging me to do that. So and you'll see that I put pictures up and all that kind of stuff just to kind of give it some color and stuff. And that would be Phoenix as well as also as with X Joker Girl X, both of them with the pictures and the decorating, So then we come to the general vendor, and I never really showed off the general vendor after I decorated for him. I just kind of did it in passing. But so here's the general vendor, and you can see I just kind of threw up that thing, and then Phoenix again, and there's other people that's done it too, but um, sh- she is always tries to hide and disguise and fix up the the stands, the vendor stands, the vendor stalls, and to make them look a little bit extra special. So um, I kind of always kind of lean to her, at least her ideas and stuff to add to those, and other people that's done it, and I mean there's so many people I could mention, uh, gaming for XP and just so many other people that I could mention for that. And then so we just have some of these rooms through here, and I needed you need if you get a lot of settlers in here, you need the space, and so you need the beds and whatnot. So in here, I didn't really do much, as you can tell. I kept pretty much all the stuff that was already in here, cleaned up some of the stuff, and just kind of made it look like I can kind of threw some stuff out here, and you know, just kind of some random stuff. Like this is the confidential file that you get for um, uh, what's his name? Um, the dude that pops up, um, the mysterious stranger or whatever his name is. That's the file that you get from Nix, and just some other stuff that kind of makes it look like there's been briefings and whatnot, and just kind of threw it out here to make it look useful and stuff. And then again, that's Sardeliac there. And you know, More Than Me for Life has done a lot of this kind of decorating and throwing that stuff around. So you know, I definitely think that she deserves, and you know, I would love to see her get back into building. I know she's had some issues with some mods and stuff, and I keep trying to tell her just do vanilla. You know, anything to get you building again would be great. So again, we got some pictures up on the walls, and this is actually the cabinet that goes on the wall, and so yeah, I just like the idea of having that on the ground. I don't know if I've seen that someplace else, but I just thought it would be a great little cabinet to have on the ground. So that was kind of cool. And again, you know, we just kind of, you know, glitched in walls and whatnot to cut all these spaces off. And again, that's General Jose had kind of originally done that I had seen anyway, and just kind of gave me that inspiration to continue doing that. And I mean, just you know, why not, you know, make separate rooms through here, make it useful. So um, this area in here, so we kind of have this little lounge area, and this is just something that Gaming for XP, just some of the stuff that he's done. You know, in one of his builds, he had this area for the all your with the caravan people, you know. So um, his wasn't, you know, anything like this, but it just kind of made me think of something for them. So I kind of built this little caravan area. I don't have the caravan deal up in here at all, but I just kind of envision that's what this is all for, you know, because then we come back in here, and this is the actual warehouse for the castle, for this entire settlement. This is all of the stuff that we have in here for storage purposes. And so I just always kind of envision the caravanners coming in here, and you know, after they go through the supplies outside, then those supplies are brought in here, but the caravanners kind of come in and rest over there and whatnot. So yeah, so there's that as well. So there's a couple other areas that I want to make sure that we talk about. So let's get a move on. It's starting to get dark. So first of all, this is just kind of almost an extension of what I did in my first castle build as well. I love the idea of having these work areas um, for your power armor. I mean, I never use power armor, but having the work areas, they're so much fun to kind of put together. I could have decorated this more and gotten some tools out and stuff, and then just kind of one of those things where I just never got around to it. But it kind of fits in over here rather well. But these lights here, so you'll see these lights here, and I'm not sure what the ammo is there for, but there's ammo up there for some reason. Those lights, and then these lights up here, and I'm somewhat disappointed that nobody pointed these out. But so using those conduits and then putting the lights on them, that's an idea that came from Nasty Bones 3D. He kind of, well, he pretty much directly gave me that idea. You know, it's one of those videos that he had that, you know, basically talked about you can do that in one of his tutorials and whatnot. So, yeah, so that was came from him. Now these vendors here, the weapons and the armor, um, you know, as I'm role playing, they're not really vendors. They're people that run the supplies, you know, as well as vendors, you know, type of thing. So if people needs their weapons worked on or needs, you know, weapon supplies, you know, the Minutemen, they come over here and they get their stuff. But this was heavily inspired by my good buddy Quick Smoke. Mikey, he did something similar in this corner, and specifically with underneath this gate that comes down. And so, that was one of those things where I've always wanted to kind of build here, and then he did it, and so I kind of talked to him a little bit about it, and realized that I could make it happen. So I just worked on glitching. I started over here, and I found that if I glitched this area down, I could get it up underneath the trap door that comes down. And so I did that, and it was just, no problem. I just had to put this stair in here, and it worked out really well to be able to get this stair in here and that kind of stuff. So, yeah. So him, and then also because she recently did a castle build, and she, more of her more recent videos was for it, is X Joker Girl X as well. She had recently done that. Now she does amazing work, and a lot more decoration than I do, and that kind of stuff. Oh, and Quicksmoke does a lot more decoration than I do as well. But those two, with these two shops, really kind of um, directed me to that. So um, yeah, so those two really kind of fit that in. And then coming in here, we have the storage and the gearing. So as we can see, I don't have. We have some in here. So you can see I renamed my weapons, and all of these weapons have very specific. If you've never seen it, I did a video on how I do my gear, and so they all have very specific names and very specific parts added to them. So this was not so much maybe the building or the naming, well, the naming, um, and even to make specific ones. All of this came from, and you can see that I did the same thing here. I've got these are all left arms, and so I have the different size, the standard one, then the sturdy, and then the heavy. You can see that I have the different ones, and I've renamed all of them. So PA, and the PA stands for personal armor, and then I have the version or the variation A2, A3, and A4. So I've done that for all the different pieces, as well as the chest piece, and then the helmets. If I had any more of the combat helmets, you'd see those here. And then we can see that I've armored up all of these uniforms here as well. So that idea actually came from Real-Time Commanders, and he hasn't done a YouTube or a Fallout video for a long, long time, but the idea originally came from him. So I feel like he needs the credit for that. It's something that I don't know if he did it a lot, but I had seen him do it at least once, and I just thought, that's great. I love that idea. I love the idea of having some sort of standardized thing instead of, it takes a lot to put all that together. I could, um, I can't remember the specifics, but well, unfortunately, I did not save it. But I can tell you that to specifically build all of the gear that I used, and I used about 15 to 20 of each armor type, arms, legs, chest, and helmets. 15 to 20 of those, as well as all of the weapons that I did. And I gave everybody a weapon specifically. Um, I don't know. I can't remember if I gave Preston one or not, but I even gave a weapon to the dude running the radio. Um, with all of that, I used probably over 3,000 steel, probably 3,500 to 4,000 leather, countless amounts of cloth. I mean, everything. A ridiculous number of wood and oil and adhesive. Adhesive was major. Just astronomical numbers. And so playing in survival um, and not using mods meant that I had to go purchase or farm all of that stuff. So that took a long time to do, and that was a lot of effort. That's probably one of the reasons why I'm level 114 right now. I was just going around and doing all that. So you can see the trapdoor up there. I'm sorry for it being so dark, but um, the last person I need to acknowledge is Mark Jackson. And his inspiration was in the character that I am role playing for this character, Mitch Rapp. If you haven't read the Mitch Rapp book series, you really should check it out. There's a movie, Mitch Rapp movie. Um, doesn't quite give it justice to the books, although I still think the movie was decent. I'd love to see it continue it, but the books are just absolutely amazing. The character was phenomenal, and he helped keep me on point. You know, Mitch Rapp is a no nonsense dude, and he's not going to mince words, and he's rather gruff and very much to the point. And Mark Jackson kept me on point with that character. If I was slipping, he would let me know. In fact, he even gave me a hard time because I said in one of my videos, I said Jiminy Christmas or something like that. And he gave me a hell of a hard time saying that Mitch wouldn't say that. Um, but yeah, so he is definitely kept me on point with that. I wasn't planning on doing much more with this character, but um, I so I was just gonna like let the character go, but now I've decided that I will probably continue to do some building and survival, and I may change instead of doing full settlements. I may change to do something else. I don't know yet, but I'm gonna go back to using my other build character for now. I get a lot more kind of freedom doing stuff with him, and I just have so much more materials, and I don't role play the character. I do role play the videos for that, but I will be doing a lot of that coming up in the near future. So I actually have um, a video or a build going on. I need a bed. I have a build going on at Longfellow's cabin that I really need to finish up. So look for that sometime in the future. But anyway, this is my castle, and I wanted to make sure I acknowledge everybody that you know, either recently or sometime in the past inspired me in some way to do something um, in any of these builds. And don't tell me you fell off. You did. All right, let's go this way then. So I will be getting back to doing my acknowledgement videos because I feel like people deserve to have um, any ideas that they have acknowledged and shared with everyone. And I will make sure that everybody that I mentioned, I will be putting a link to their channels in case you haven't been to their channels. I will be putting a link to their channels in the description below. And by all means, go check out their stuff. Not everybody does Fallout, but or currently doing Fallout anyway, but they're great channels regardless, and they put out some pretty decent content, and everybody should go check them out and at least show them some love in that regard. So, with that, thank you very much, everybody, and I'm gonna go find a bed to sleep in. Later. All right, so here we are at the kitchen area. Now, there's not a whole lot going on in the kitchen. I didn't really do much for decorating in here. Um, but the kitchen, um, the eating area, um, really it's this area back here that I want to acknowledge Onawim 7737 and Shell Bjorg. Those two both threw out some suggestions and stuff. I'd one of the videos I had done the doorway, and I had commented how I didn't care for how the lighting was. Now, granted, I had already kind of come to the conclusion that's what I was going to do this here, but they had made the suggestion at the same time, and I had kind of made the decision that's what I was going to try. Their confirmation that they thought it would work is what really kind of drove me to go ahead and do it. I thought, you know, hey, those guys like the idea, and so might as well give it a shot. And it turns out it worked out really well. It did what I wanted to do, and you know, so I want to make sure that both of those guys get some acknowledgement too. So I actually forgot to show this in my other tour, and so had to add this on. Oh, it's a great time. Appreciate it. Yep. Yeah, Preston, it's not like we've never had this conversation like 25, 30 times. I mean,
Our friendship means
dude,
right. I guess
you're so clean.
Uh-huh.
All right. With that, I want to say thank you to everybody, and take care.
He's got a beautiful backswing. That's, oh, he got all of that one.
The thing is, Bob, it's not that I'm lazy. It's that I just don't care.